Hello, my name is Thomas Cecil, and the subject of my consulting project is the Prison Entrepreneurship Program. The title of my paper is the Planned PEP Expansion and the Potential Shortfalls. In this presentation, I'm going to provide some background information on the program, specifics on how participants are selected, issues that I came across while volunteering with the program, and recommendations for potential solutions to those issues. The Prison Entrepreneurship Program was started by Catherine Rohr in 2004. Catherine originally came from New York City, where she was a venture capitalist for a private equity firm. Her first exposure to the prison system was with a volunteer ministry program called the Chuck Colson's Prison Fellowship Ministry. As a result of that first exposure, she returned to New York City and spread the word of what it was that she'd found and the amazing trip that she had, and actually was able to bring several of her friends and colleagues down to experience what she had at the Carol Vance unit, also in Texas. There she was able to host a educational business panel where they interviewed some of the inmates that had business ideas and provided them with some specific information that they would need to obtain funding upon their release. She took this idea and the amazing experience that she had and decided to leave New York City, come to Texas, and host a business plan competition here. The first business plan competition was at the Hamilton unit in College Station, and it was at Hamilton unit that PEP was formally recognized as a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization. Some specifics on the competition. PEP currently operates out of 4 units. That's 3 men's units and 1 women's unit. The Venus unit, the Cleveland unit, the Gib Lewis unit, and the Lockhart unit. Something that is specific to the Lockhart unit being a women's prison is actually the only women's prison in the U.S. that has a program like PEP operating in it. The application process is pretty extensive for the inmates to join the program. Once the applications are submitted, 10,000 eligible inmates are actually provided invitations. During that whole application process, there is extensive interviews. There's multiple tests that have to be completed. There's a review of their conduct record. During the interviews, there's discussion about faith and their belief in the Lord. Since PEP has a very strong faith-based offering, they require that their participants do also. Additionally, there are requirements for time left inside. They want to make sure that it's less than 3 years because the business plan program itself is actually 9 months long, and they want to make sure that the inmate has time to complete the program as well as prepare themselves for release and the program after release. As I stated, there are invitations sent out to 10,000 eligible inmates. Out of those 10,000 eligible inmates, only 1,200 will be selected. One of the main benefits of being selected for the program is that the inmate that is selected will be transferred from whatever unit they're at to one of the 4 units that the program operates in. One of the big benefits of that is being closer to family and having access to them, whereas a higher security prison does not have those benefits. A lower security prison does offer the chance to be a little bit more independent, have access to family and loved ones, and then also feel a little bit closer to what they call the free world. One of the first issues that I stumbled across while volunteering with the program was funding. Being a charity organization, they are 100% dependent upon private donations and grants. In reviewing their financial numbers for the last 3 years, 2 of those 3 years they found themselves in the red at the end of the year. Being in the red means that they had a shortfall of funding. 2017 specifically, they had a shortfall of almost $200,000. How do they recoup from that? One of the big things that they tried to do was consolidate expenses and try to reduce expenses as much as possible. At what sacrifice to the poignancy of the program, that's yet to be determined, obviously. But one of the recommendations that I had was to start a more aggressive campaigning fund for donations. It seems that they are stuck in a bit of a rut, and they're only really working to obtain the funding that they need to complete their tasks instead of funding for future projects and future programs. With the expected expansion that they're trying to complete in the next few years of 4 states and 7 prisons, they're going to need at least 3, if not 4 times the amount of funding that they currently have. And at their pace, they will never reach that. Some of the recommendations that I had for them to be a little more aggressive would be to take advantage of some of the talents of the participants. Not only are they very intelligent and very business savvy, but they're also very musically inclined. A couple of the guys that I was able to spend some time with were great cooks. They cooked some phenomenal food. So my first recommendation was to take advantage of that and have a banquet. And at that banquet, they can showcase the musical talents of some of the participants. Since a good portion of their donors and volunteers are MBA students and executives, my next recommendation was a golf charity event. What executive doesn't like to play golf? And along with the golf charity event, I also recommended a silent auction. So not only would you receive funding from the golf charity itself, but also the silent auction. Last but not least, I recommended crowdfunding and GoFundMe accounts. This is really more for the non-executive, non-MBA. Crowdfunding and GoFundMe accounts are a good source of funding for the everyday person. They take donations in just about any increments, any type of money, Bitcoin, PayPal, doesn't matter. They're willing to accept all of it. So your everyday person that wants to support the program is able to donate just like the executives would. The second issue that I came across, or second recommendation that I have for improvement of funding or an increase in funding, is the inclusion of individuals that did not participate in the program inside prison. PEP does not currently provide support or funding to individuals that did not graduate from the program, and my opinion and my input to them was that this was a huge shortfall or huge potential loss on their part, just based off of the research that I did of the U.S. government and the funding that they provide for reentry programs in the U.S. Specifically, in 2008, the government passed the Second Chance Act, and this act was developed specifically for reentry programs in the U.S. In 2019 alone, the U.S. government set aside $739 million for reentry programs. $49 million of it was for the Second Chance Grant, which PEP is actually eligible for, and $49 million is a lot of money. PEP, based off of what the requirements were that I saw, PEP is actually already performing these duties, and all they would take is just a slight tweak to their business model, make a few changes. They would obviously have to increase some staff, and opening their doors to this possibility could mean a huge influx of funding, which will not only point them into put them into a different category as far as reentry, but it would also provide them the funding that they're looking for to complete their expansion ideas and expansion model in the future. Last thing I wanted to touch on was just the impact of the program and the success that success that the program has had over the years. Since the inception in 2004, 2,180 individuals have graduated from PEP. Now keep in mind, the graduation is actually the completion of the business plan competition inside prison, as well as the program upon release from prison. For whatever reason, some participants aren't able to complete the business plan program, and then some of them aren't able to complete the program upon release. The recidivism rate, which is the amount of people that are released from prison that return to prison, for PEP participants is only 7% versus the national average of 49%. As far as economic opportunity goes, 100% of graduates of PEP are employed within 90 days. That also includes those that are self-employed or start their own business. Another statistic is 1 in 4 participants released, 1 in 4 graduates from PEP actually do start their own business. That's a huge positive impact. There's a total of 361 businesses that have been started by PEP graduates, and some of those businesses actually have an income stream of over $1 million, which is amazing. The net fiscal impact, which is the figure that actually I was probably awestruck by the most, is that as a result of the cost savings from PEP, the 5-year return on investment is 794%, and that culminates in $4.3 million in savings to the state of Texas. So you can't debate that the program has been successful. Now, how successful, how much more successful would it be if they were to expand the program and open themselves up to ex-offenders that did not participate in the program? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you.